Hello, welcome to the special session. Today, we are going to deal with certain specific public concerns that affect our nation today. We have with us a group of civil service aspirants who is not only going to talk about these public concerns, but they also will help us to enable us to think critically about all these public concerns. We have a civil service aspirant there, Harida. Let's hear about her view on civil service being a progressive career. Hi, Harida. So we have Harida with us. She is going to talk about civil service being a progressive career.
Yes, ma'am. As a civil service aspirant as well as a representative of the Indian youth, I strongly believe that civil service is one of the most responsible careers of India, as well as it is one of the pillars that contribute to Indian administrative structure. So we know that it gives you power, privilege, prestige, and above everything, it is a sense of calling for most of us. Like beyond a job, beyond money, beyond everything, it is a sense of passion. It is a sense of responsibility for all the aspirants, including us. We already know that it is one of the toughest exams in the world, and still the pass percentage is very less, like less than 1%. Still around 10 to 50 lakh people apply for this exam each and every year. Why? That is a question. If it gives you something that any other job can provide, then no one, like most of the people will go for better options. But civil service provide you with an opportunity to make an intangible change in the society. A change in the sense you can create a smile on a people, on the face of any person who is underprivileged, and you can make reforms in the society. We all want to make some changes in the society, like our Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in this world. So each aspirant, we are trying to make intangible changes, reforms in this particular society. Along with that, we also have to mention the challenges that the job offers. Like you have to maintain your work-life balance. You have to be under the public scrutiny almost every time, and we are very familiar with the recent examples, the recent controversies that are happening with the bureaucratic system in the society, especially in Kerala. But apart everything, it gives you a sense of responsibility, gives you an opportunity to mingle with different kinds of people. You have an opportunity to interact with people in different sections, whether it is health, whether it is education. You are having a dynamic career. So considering all these things, I strongly believe that it is one of the most progressive and most desirable and most ideal careers that Indian society can offer you.
Thank you, Harita. She has shared such delightful insights. But there are so many challenges that we face currently in our society. So let's move forward and invite few persons who is going to talk about certain challenges that they feel is pressing our society today. Akash, hi. So, what do you think is the most challenge today that is not being addressed?
Ma'am, I think political interference is one of the major problems that our country is facing. Our country is known around the world for its democratic values. India is a nation that gives utmost importance for the common brotherhood and social harmony. But social evils like political encroachment are drawing back the democratic values of our nation. They impose many social problems. Firstly, we can say the decreasing bureaucratic independence. Frequent transfers of honest officers and the political interference in government institutions are consequences of this. Because of this, the ethical working of our bureaucratic officers are decreasing. Another important problem is the decreasing power of social media. Social media is considered as the fourth pillar of our Indian democracy. But due to the increasing political encroachment, the power of social media is decreasing. Social media these days are not able to address the real issues due to the pressure that they are facing from political parties. Another important problem due to this political interference is corruption. The nationwide famous cases like the 2G spectrum and nationwide famous report like the SEBI report are examples of this. Corruption is increasing up to a very massive level that it has become very much difficult to deteriorate. Another problem due to this political encroachment is the distortion of electoral process. Even the election commission itself has outlined the role of political interference in this deterioration. Through the unethical use of social media, vote bank politics, and through many other measures, political parties are distorting the electoral process of our nation. The most effective measure to overcome these problems is the coming up of the citizens. They should be able to recognize their individual power, their individual rights, and they must be able to rise up above the hurdles that these political encroachment and political parties are creating.
Thank you, Akash. He has given us a lot of insights on how social media is tampering with political interference, a lot of insights. So, do you think that citizens should have a voice, or do they have restrictions on social media or on freedom of speech? So, with more insights, let's move forward to Miduna. Hi Miduna. How are you? So, Miduna, she is here to speak on freedom of speech and social media. Miduna, what are your thoughts? Let's have a.
I just remember what President Ramnath Kovind said in order to highlight the social media and its freedom of speech interlinkage. Social media is a double-edged sword. While it empowers a citizen with dignity of freedom of speech and expression, it poses certain challenges in maintaining a delicate balance between free speech and hate speech, and also in maintaining the security and privacy of individuals. Recently, the Kerala Tripura High Court highlighted that posting on social media as a fundamental right. We must understand the topic first before delving into it. What social media is and what freedom of speech does. As we know that social media is a platform where an individual can express him freely without any restriction or intervention by the state parties. And it must have an influence with the freedom of speech and expression. As when we deal with freedom of speech and expression, as we know that Article 19 Clause 1 of the Indian Constitution ensures a freedom of speech for all its citizens. And there's some restriction regarding up to some extent. It was enshrined in Article 19 Clause 2, which restricts a limit of individual perspective in terms of the public relations and related to government, official, etc. There exist some challenges and measures. There exist some challenges and how this social media influence the freedom of speech and expression. First of all, I will explain how the social media influences. As we know that the individual can express him freely, so there exists some thought processing. Second, during the time of COVID-19, it enables the rural connectivity and versus tribal connectivity. The information sharing, it enabled social media platform enable the individual to share apt information regarding the syndrome, regarding the pandemic situation. So let's deal with the challenges of social media. And I first tell that there exists some feeling of isolation when individuals fall upon this social media platform, and it also restricts their freedom of speech. Second, I was tell that there exists an issue of defamation, misusing. Some individuals may be misusing the power of freedom of speech enriched in the article. And next, I must tell that through the influence of social media, there exists the breaking of family relationships, and the most important thing is that the physically impaired population of our Indian society also suffer from restricting the from getting this right of freedom of speech and expression, as they were not able to use the screen reader. Screen readers are not impossible to express their views. The most important thing in the current scenario, we must all know that the influence of artificial intelligence. The thing that it was doing is restricting the skill development in citizen. Also, it restricts the fundamental right of speech and expression. When it came to the end, I must tell you some measures in eradicating this social media influences and the freedom of speech and expression. They must have a commission to regulate how individuals are using how individuals are using the social media and how it restricts the freedom of speech. Second, there must self-assessment. They must have a self-assessment and social media and freedom of speech do not overlap with each other. As an Indian citizen, we must ensure the dignity. We must ensure the dignity of the freedom of speech and expression without over-consuming of social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Miduna. She has shared very interesting insights on what is social media and how it poses a challenge to everyday lives. However, there is another big concern that is impacting our society today, that is moral policing. We have Sri Hari, who is going to give us some insights on moral policing.
Moral policing is a very big issue which our society faces, and it puts lots of question on our society's consciousness. Moral policing basically means to restrict a person's choice so that he doesn't cross the basic standards of society. These basic standards are based on our age-old customs and religion, culture. Moral policing basically restricts a person's freedom of choice and expression and his dignity. Raises questions on his dignity. There is a Malayalam movie, Kumbalangi Nights, and in that movie there is a character named Shammi. Shammi is a clear depiction of a person who follows or who indulges in moral policing. Shammi is shown as a conservative from one side, but on other side he also stalks women. So this is the mentality of a person who follows moral policing. In India, we can see the manifestation of moral policing in the form of mob lynching, anti-Romeo squads, attacks on LGBTQ, and cow vigilante groups. So this is a very big problem, ma'am. We can solve this problem by bringing basic changes in our structure of education. As we know, in our Indian schools, boys and girls are not allowed to sit together. They follow a principle of segregation. So that's need to be changed. I think legal reforms can make change, but they are not that much effective, because though people who indulge in these kinds of act, they are arrested, but after getting bail, they are welcomed with garlands and sweets. So I think basic changes need to be made in the consciousness of the people. Critical thinking should be promoted. People should know about their basic rights. So I think these are some of the way forward to solve this basic problem.
Thank you, Sri Hari. He has touched upon moral policing, how it is being rooted in stereotypical mentality of society. But we have social sectors such as education and health, which is still a very important sectors in our economy. So for that, we have Gokul, who is going to talk on health. Hi, Gokul. Yeah. So, what are your views on the social sector being health?
In India, ensuring accessible, affordable and quality of health for all remain a critical priority, which is essential for inclusive development and achieving sustainable development goals. However, this sector faces several issues, mainly urban-rural divide. Urban-rural divide in the sense that we can say most of the hospitals are in urban areas and which is run by private parties where they can earn large profits. But in the rural areas, we can see they are facing many issues like shortage of wellness centers, primary health centers, and infrastructure facilities, etc. We can see a urban-rural divide in this sector. And next is when it's come to shortage, workforce shortage, indicates a huge shortage of doctor, nurses, and work professionals in these urban areas. And also due to this, there is an issue in public facilities. I'm only addressing a few issues, but there is many more issues related to this sector, and also many measures can be taken against these issues in this sector. Measures like strengthening community health centers through sufficient fund allocation and adequate infrastructure facilities. And next is focus on preventive care. Preventive care in the sense that we can say primary health centers must concentrate on their original mandates, which constitutes welfare programs like vaccination programs, maternal and child health care, and health education, and so on. As I said, it's just a few measures, and there are many more need to follow. Hence, it is time for India to increase its public healthcare expenditures, as India wants to project itself as an example of health for all approach.
Gokul has wonderfully consolidated the issues relating to health and the solutions relating to health. We have one more component, that is education. We will quickly move on to Shafi. Hi Shafi. So hi Shafi. He has a few words to say about education.
Education is a beacon of life. Plato said, education make character. The word includes the all contents for the education. But at the current scenario, our Indian situation, we have faced a lot of barriers, especially the regional disparity and the gender inequality, some of lot of issues, and the employability, and a lot of issues we are facing. But at the same time, we can remember certain examples like Finland, Japan. The particular nations include their educational system. It's a practical education. Like there are students, there particular nations students are not in sitting in a just four walls. It's outed, and is a tasting for the atmosphere and the nature. The practical study is important for the growth and the essence acquiring for the education. Basically, we can trying to inclusive educational programs. We know one the famous quote: if you educate a boy, you trained a man. If you educate a girl, you trained a village. Because our nation want some inclusive and some creative educational policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Shafi. He has provided us with a beautiful quote which encapsulates what education should be. Whether bureaucracy can address all these challenges remains a question to ponder. Let's move on to Harida, who is going to share few insights on how bureaucracy can be reformative to address all these challenges. Over to Harida.
Yes, ma'am. As my friends have already told, like the issues that we are facing in different sectors like health, education, social media, like that. So it is evident that an efficient bureaucrat or efficient civil servant can find solutions to these problems. We have seen many examples, like if I have to mention some names like Raju Narayan Swamy, T.N. Sheshan, and the Miracle Man of India, who have created a 100-kilometer road in Manipur. These all are examples of how efficiently civil servant can bring changes in the society. So all I want to say is that if you are passionate about making changes in the society, and if you are ready to break all the challenges, break all the stereotypes, and you want to see the change that you want to see in the society, so civil service is definitely the best and ideal career path for you.
So that's the spirit. Hope you all enjoyed this wonderful session. I hope that you have all got insights on the pressing issues of the society that we face. So get up and have a voice and be ready to speak up on whatever issues that you feel is affecting our society today. Thank you.